In level 4, we're going to be solving systems of equations in word problems. So the difference is that you're going to first have to write the equations and then solve them like we did in the other levels. So reading this first example, it says Terry has 32 coins worth a total of $6.80. Some of the coins are dimes and the rest are quarters. How many of each type of coin does Terry have? So first I need to figure out what my variables are, and they are the number of dimes and the number of quarters. So I'm going to call D the number of dimes, and Q is going to be the number of quarters. And I need to write two equations relating these variables. The first thing I know about them is that there are 32 coins total. So that means D plus Q will equal 32, and that's my first equation. The other thing I know is that those dimes and quarters are worth a total of $6.80. Every dime is worth 10 cents, so if I multiplied 10 cents by the number of dimes, and then every quarter is worth 25 cents, so 0.25 times the number of quarters, and added that up, it would have to add up to $6.80. And those are my two equations that I'm going to solve. So this is my system. Now I need to make it so one of the variables cancels out. So I'm going to multiply my top equation by negative 0.1 or 0.10 so that my d's will cancel out. So I distribute negative 0.1 times d, and that's negative 0.1 d. And then I get minus 0.1 q equals negative 3.2 when I multiply negative 0.1 times 32. The bottom equation I'm just going to bring down, and that's 0.1d plus 0.25q equals 6.8. Now I am going to add the two equations together, and the d's cancel out. Then I add negative 0.1q plus 0.25q, and we get 0.15q equals 3.6. Then I divide both sides by 0.15, and I get q equals 24. So that means there are 24 quarters. Now I need to plug q back into one of my equations to solve for d, and I'm going to plug it back into this top original equation, and we get d plus, and for q I plug in 24, equals 32. Subtract 24 from both sides, and we get d equals 8. So that would mean my final answer is 8 dimes and 24 quarters. But again, we always want to check our answer and make sure it worked. So I know that my two coins add up to 32, or my dimes and my quarters add up to 32, but I'm going to check it in my second equation. If each dime is worth 10 cents, so 10 cents times 8 plus 25 cents for each of my 24 quarters, does that give me $6.80? Yes, it does. The next example, it says the length of a rectangle is 6 inches more than the width. The perimeter of the rectangle is 24 inches. What is the length of the rectangle? So our two variables are, we will call L, I'm going to use a cursive L for length, and W is going to be width. And it says the length is 6 inches more than the width. So the equation I can write for that is L equals W plus 6. So that represents the length being 6 inches more than the width. If I add 6 to the width, I get the length. For the other equation, it says the perimeter of the rectangle is 24 inches. Remember, in a rectangle, you've got your length and your width, and the perimeter is 2, as adding up all the sides, so 2L plus 2W. So if the perimeter is 24, the equation I can write is 2L plus 2W equals 24. Now I need to use elimination, I need to get both equations set up in the same form where the L's line up and then the W's, then the equal signs, then the numbers. So I need to move the W over to the other side in the top equation. And I will get L, and then I'm going to subtract W from both sides, so minus W equals 6. And then my bottom equation is okay, 2L plus 2W equals 24. But the variables won't cancel, so I need to multiply the top equation by, if I multiply by 2, the W's will cancel. So I'm going to multiply everything by 2. And on the top I get 2L minus 2W equals 12. The bottom equation stays the way it is, 2L plus 2W equals 24. And now I add the two equations together. The W's cancel out and I get 4L equals 36. Divide both sides by 4 and we get L equals 9. So my length would be 9. The question was just asking for the length of the rectangle, so technically I'm done, but let's find the width too and check the answer to make sure it worked. So length is 9. If I plug that back into this equation, I get 9 equals W plus 6, subtract 6 from both sides, and we get 3 equals W. So let's check that in my second equation and make sure that gives a perimeter of 24. So 2 times plug in 9 for L plus 2 times plug in 3 for W. That's 18 plus 6, which does equal 24, so it worked. So my final answer is the length is 9 inches.